Welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley, your weekly journey into examining your spirit choices and social etiquette in different settings. Do you know the written and unspoken rules about ordering and consuming alcohol during a night out on the town with your friends, at office holiday parties, or when hosting at home? Well, pour your favorite drink and get ready for an unfiltered, enlightening, and comfortable ride. Sip back and relax. And welcome to 100 Proof Radio with Jay Wesley.
Welcome to 100 Proof, the 39th episode at our new home of Rolling Out TV. We want to thank you for always tuning in to learn how to become more responsible when drinking. Tonight's topic is cocktails and music, and we are going to have a phenomenal conversation determining how alcohol plays a part in the music industry. So I have two wonderful guests here with me. Mr. Isaac, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. And to my left, how are you?
Very good. Just flew in, feeling good.
Yes. Mr. LA flew in all the way for us. And so we're going to introduce them more in depth a little bit later. But the first evidence of a relationship between fermented beverages was found in a 9,000-year-old archaeological site in China, alongside some of the oldest intact musical instruments, meaning a good sip has been paired with soulful tunes longer than hip-hop has ever been alive. Therefore, it's not just prevalent in rap culture. Musicians all over the world are known to have a good drink with good music. Is that right, guys?
It's definitely right.
Absolutely.
All right. So tonight we will have a healthy, mature, and fun dialogue with music. Industry insiders about the influence of alcohol in the entertainment business. The premise of this dialogue is to explore the power of alcohol in the music industry. Why is it so prevalent within music lyrics and videos? Are music artists being used to promote alcohol to the Black community? What role does alcohol play in an artist development? So, Isaac, thank you for being part of the show. Before we get into introducing who you are, just tell us your first thoughts of hearing this topic tonight.
I think alcohol definitely influences anything that you're doing for the good. In the music community, I know a lot of people that need a drink that kind of gets them to a creative, place. A sober mind sometimes doesn't do the job, if that makes sense. Not to get drunk, but maybe they're high strung, or maybe antsy, and they need something that's going to calm them down. So in a good way, having a glass of wine versus having alcohol could definitely be the difference of how they react and become creative.
Right. And so what's your thoughts on hearing this topic conversation today?
It's definitely a very distinct partnership between the two. I've seen it kind of happen both ways in the music industry, with people really using it as a tool to alter the vibration, and with that altered vibration, they can allow certain creative forces to channel through easier. Marijuana is kind of used too, but yeah, alcohol is definitely like the standard, to where studios will make sure the bottles are on deck. They'll know which ones you want. Runners on deck at all times to go make the run to the liquor store. Definitely goes hand in hand.
And this interesting, because I'm already learning some things. So you are Zach Nichols, mix engineer, and you have worked with some premier musicians such as Snoop, TLC, Tamar Braxton, JoJo, Marsha Ambrosius, Victoria Monet, and many, many more. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been in LA for almost a decade now. I've been a mix engineer. I've been fortunate to engineer under some legendary producers and vocal producers and artists to really help me gain my craft through that. So I haven't had a lifelong career in it, but I've definitely had a large amount of time doing what I've been doing, working on mostly R&B and a little pop, but but my field has definitely been niched in like real R&B music, and that's how I pretty much got in over there.
And listen to you guys. Listen to this, you guys. Zach doesn't drink. So how are you around all this alcohol and you're not enticed?
Um, I used to be. I used to be a big liqueur guy, and I mix it with a soda. But marijuana has kind of always been my thing. We always used to say it's literally changing your vibration. When you smoke, you get high, you're raising your vibration. When you drink, you get low, you're lowering your vibration. So, like Ike was talking about, when you're dead center in terms of your consciousness or your spirit, you're operating your normal day to day where you may not be able to tap in to these other areas in the deeper parts of your mind. So simply changing it one way or the other, up or
Well,
down.
hold that thought because it's time for a PSA announcement. And when we come back, we're going to be introducing Ike. But right now, we're turning it over to my frat brother, Andrew, for this PSA.
Okay, good evening. And remember, make sure to catch the 100 Proof Show hosted by Jay Wesley of Cocktail Chronicles, done in partnership with Rolling Out Magazine. Tune in each Tuesday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Rolling Out's Facebook Live as we have engaging discussions and conversation on enjoying alcohol responsibly. And don't forget to use a rideshare or responsible transportation service in order to get home safely. And that's keeping it 100. Again, 100 Proof Radio Show with Jay Wesley of Cocktail Chronicles in conjunction with Rolling Out Magazine.
Thank you all for staying tuned. And Andrew, I appreciate you doing that PSA for us this week. And as always, we want you all to do what's right. And that's what this show is all about, is helping you navigate through different social settings that alcohol is involved with so that you can be seen as mature and responsible. So going back to the conversation, we want to come back to our guest and introduce Ike. How are you, sir?
Doing good. Kind of tired. I feel like I just got in from LA. I'm like, my body is telling me a different story right now, but I'm definitely on a mission, to spread what I do in this industry.
So tell us what that is.
So basically, my name is Isaac Ham, or Izzy Ike on social media. I do brand management, event planning. Currently now, June is Black Music Month, so that's my thing. Kind of 365. I'm always promoting that. Big shout out to the two co-founders, Mr. Gamble and Deanna Williams. I'm sorry. So basically, that's pretty much what I do in between clients, in between doing branding and events and stuff like that. That's like my other side of my life, which is supporting Black Music Month.
All right. And so what's some of the artists that we may know that you've worked with?
Currently, she's not an artist. She's a comedian. Kiana Dancy from Sister Circle. I've worked with Lily from SWV, Mila from 702, Yana Qualley from Sunday Best. Actually, he mentioned Marsha Ambrosius within my event. Her not necessarily being birthed in Philadelphia, but that's where she landed when she came.
You're from
over.
Philly,
Yeah, so
correct?
I'm from Philly. So I actually honor her at my event in 2012. So a lot of the history of Philadelphia, I'm now honoring them for all the things that they've done in the business. So, so that's pretty much my life.
So let's go deep into this conversation. How has alcohol use become so synonymous with the lifestyle of a musician? Like, how did this happen? When did it happen that it's cool to be an artist and to have a drink in your hand or be sipping and, the videos are all filled with alcohol?
Yeah. I would say two things to that in terms of the origin. I don't have any factual proof, but I would like to say it probably went back to the original old blues musicians to when that really went hand in hand in the saloons. In terms of, I forget the second half of your.
All right. So, let me take a break and go to Monty, who's on our phone line. And Monty, we want you to get your thoughts on this question or what you think about the conversation as a whole, and then we'll go into having you introduce yourself.
Sure. My thoughts on the conversation as a whole, definitely alcoholism and music, it's pretty prevalent. Even in the lyrics of hip hop music that we listen to, a lot of times they're promoting the consumption of alcohol, and a lot of times like the alcohol that tends to be the most popular is mentioned in like some of the most popular hip hop songs. So everyone jumped on board when everyone was talking about like Hypnotic, and everyone jumped on board with Moscato, and now everyone's jumping on board with like Duce and Ciroc. And like if you look in the lyrics of like Jay-Z and P Diddy, like they're mentioning the consumption of this liquor and like how it like amplifies the turn up to the most or to the utmost when you consume these brands. So like it's definitely hip hop and music definitely has a major influence on the consumption of alcohol in our generation. Like that's hands down.
So, Monty,
So
that was some great feedback. So, why don't you take a moment and tell us about yourself, because you are a Christian recording
Yeah.
artist. And so, tell us a little bit about that. And then I want to know if you Christians have a little sip before y'all do what you do. Who
Okay.
knows?
So yeah, I am a Christian artist, and I will say, I recently I recorded a single that actually releases June 15th, and it'll be on all digital music platforms. It's called "With All That I Am," and I've had the opportunity to work with several recording artists from Israel Houghton. I served on the worship team at Lakewood Church. Myron Butler, Jason Butler, Stephen Deidre from Crawford from Anointed. Like I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of Christian artists, and I must say, like in their presence, I have never witnessed any Christian artists like consuming alcohol, especially before working. And I know a lot. Of course,
But you've seen them do it afterwards.
Yeah,
Why
that's
you
going to
go-
incriminate me, but not all of them. Like, okay, there have been
Hey, this is
individuals that I've
100 proof. You
mentioned-
got to keep it real.
Yeah, keeping it real, all the way real. The individuals the names that I mentioned, I've never seen them. Now, in the Christian world, like with artists that are like kind of upcoming, every once in a while at a happy hour, you might see them with like a glass of wine or something like that. But it's never like too much because also we're vocalists.
So, Monty, are you
And-
judging them when you see them sipping?
Not at all, because I mean I'm pretty like. Now I know people that do. I'm not that way. I'm pretty authentic when it comes to like my, I know my relationship with God and like, the message that I preach in my music or whatever. But like, no, not at all. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'll have a drink here and there.
All right, keep it 100. We had
but I'm
preachers
kinda
on
like-
here maybe a few weeks ago, and they said it's okay. They say God made the first miracle in the Bible, changing
Okay,
water
went
to
to the
wine.
wedding party and
So-
turned water into wine, and it wasn't just some cheap wine. It was like the best quality wine that you could like. You couldn't even pay for the quality of wine that was at this wedding party. So, like, that's proof. Like, Jesus was all about like, hey, have a good time, celebrate life. Just, be modest. Don't overindulge. Don't go too far. Like, the Bible only talks about like being drunk, but it never says don't consume. So, like, yeah, I'll go to a happy hour and I'll have a drink about once a month or so. But I'm just mindful because I know that alcohol affects my voice.
And so, Monty, are you in Texas right now? I heard you say
no, I'm
Lakewood.
actually in New York City. I live in New York.
Okay, but you say you were with Lakewood. Is that Joel Osteen?
Yeah, Joel Osteen. I lived in Texas. Well, I grew up in Texas all my life. Moved to New York about 2 years ago. So I served on the worship team at Joel Osteen's church for like 3 years.
Okay, you may have been there when I was there. I used to be a member. But let's take it back here into the studio with Isaac. Do you, based on what we just left the conversation with about Christianity, do you think artists glorify alcohol in their music?
I mean, when you were saying it, you got to, from a marketing standpoint, Diddy did it right as far as, people were drinking, but he turned it into a lifestyle. So therefore, you may have some artists that just want to get drunk and they want to be in the club and doing this than other. But to bring back to your point of like, alcohol and music, people look at people, artists and people who are consumers, who love music, look at people like Diddy and say, okay, cool, he has on a fur coat and he's drinking Ciroc. He took alcohol and made it something nice to do, something responsible. He promotes alcohol, but he also promotes to drive safe, drink responsibly and stuff like that. So it's really all with the artist. So somebody like Diddy knows how to do it to keep that money. That's product placement for him. He's getting a check every time he promotes something, and so he's getting best of both worlds.
Right, and so when you say P. Diddy, I'm just convoluted about that conversation for the simple fact that, for one, Ciroc was a bottomless vodka. It was a cheap vodka. It still is a cheap vodka. They haven't changed the formula, but it just shows the power of marketing that
Right.
you can get a powerful, influential person and slap their name on it, and people go out and buy it like droves. So, what's your thought on the fact of how music artists impact and influence consumers to go and buy the alcohol?
Yeah, I mean, it's directly, I would say it's almost 50-50 in terms of the marketing placement, because best believe, like, a lot of the times, this stuff is getting paid for to get put in front of your face.
Why don't they pay me? I mean, y'all can pay me to put it right here in my show.
It's all about
And-
your marketing and branding. You got
Right.
And a lot of times when I see things really like bubbling under the radar before it gets to like the mass consumption, honestly, a lot of it happens in the writing sessions. And when you're dealing with a room full of songwriters and producers, it's very common, and I mean very common, for either the studio or an
record
affiliate
label.
or an admirer to drop off a new bottle.
Okay.
And people in the room will try it. And if they like it, it's getting written about that day.
Right.
Interesting.
And now with social media, if you see some of these marquee names with this brand new bottle that may be even in pre-production, once that hits the writing rooms and Instagram, when all the youth and followers want to be in this room, I would say even more than the concerts or the stages, because that's when the real behind the scenes magic is happening. So when they're seeing these bottles getting posted in these writing sessions on Instagram or whatever, the first thing is, what liquor is that? That's a brand new bottle. Now the buzz is
Right.
getting it. Now, as long as the people like it, now they're like, all right, pull the trigger, let's go, and let's really get this out to the clubs, and it just kind of grows and grows.
Wow, interesting. Monty, what's your thoughts on what you're hearing here in the studio?
Like as far as what they're saying, I'm in total agreement. Like especially when we was talking about like the responsible, like you mentioned, I think it was Isaac that mentioned like the responsible consumption that PD preaches, and then again, it's just a marketing tool that they're utilizing, like hey, getting it out on the shelf, promoting it, because it's all about like capitalizing on like how much money and profit we can make in the promoting of alcohol. So,
Are
yeah.
liquor companies wrong for, and maybe Isaac, this might be a question for you since you're in the marketing branding arena. Are they wrong for tapping into artists to get them to write and like he said, to drop off the liquor, pay to get the liquor in the videos?
You got to think about any product that's being promoted. It's like you have the salesmen that sell back in the day typewriters or the machines or whatever, door-to-door salespeople. So you got to look at from their perspective. They're getting a commission for selling this, putting this in front of you, right? But even if somebody slaps their name on it, like Diddy, he's getting paid for it, and that salesperson is getting paid for it, and then he's distributing to his people. You think about, look at his Ciroc brand. He's still promoting that blue dot, right? Blue is more of a masculine. So he's like, I'm gonna stay with this color because that's my brand. But then Ashanti comes out of nowhere with like a peach, orange, whatever,
Right.
I think it's orange or whatever. But that's more feminine. So now he picked the right person, and people are like, where the hell is Ashanti come
Right.
from? But everybody's like bathing suit, Ciroc. So you got best of both worlds. Bathing suit. Haven't seen her in a long time, and you getting drunk while you watching. So it's all about marketing. And I just feel like I don't think nobody's wrong to put it in their face. I think you're wrong when you use the alcohol wrong,
Right.
or consume too much of it.
Well, Monty, I'm going to come back to you with this question because since you're the Christian one, not to say that we're not.
I mean,
Not
don't
to say that-
put him in no.
Do they have a role to be corporate, socially responsible to think about, as far as the artists, to think about how this impacts and influences their neighborhoods, their communities? So, knowing that a lot of people that's going out buying the alcohol may not be able to afford it, they flood minority communities with alcohol and liquor stores. So should the artist have any type of moral compass to say, you know what, push back, I'm not doing that because I know if I go and put this on my album, my community is going to go and buy it, and the liquor companies not doing anything back for the minority communities?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only, am I a Christian artist, but prior to being an artist full time, I was an educator. I was an assistant principal for 2 years, a math teacher for 6 years. So I dealt with like youth who listened to this music and were influenced by the music. And we're talking about youth who were like in middle school and like freshmen in high school who are not even old enough to consume or even let alone be thinking about the consumption of alcohol. But it's mentioned in the lyrics of these songs that are like popular. They're doing the dances and they're also like rapping the lyrics. And so they're talking about, what's being mentioned in the music. So I definitely feel that as artists with a platform that is as influential as it is, we have to be very mindful of what we say because the audience that's listening to it, like they're emulating what they hear, like from the thing of, labels and name brands to the consumption of alcohol, to the dances that we do, to the way that we carry ourselves on the street. And I feel like, especially in the Black community with the issues that we have at hand today, I really challenge artists, and even in myself as a Christian artist, to really, Nina Simone said it, like as artists, we are tasked with the responsibility to project the times, to tell about the times. And the times that we're in right now, it's such a great need for like people to just be aware of like reality. And one thing I like about what's his real? I call him Childish Gambino, but the music, the video that he put out, like it's like a powerful message because it's like letting us know like we are being distracted by so much of the media that we're missing what's really going on.
Right.
And as artists who are like really, really like heavy in the media, like we need to be the ones that are in the forefront, like letting people know like this is what's going on. This is what we need to do.
Absolutely.
Like using our platform for something other than just the turn up and other than just capitalizing on,
A
how
dollar.
much money we can make, but
Yeah, I got a
actually
question for you.
like impacting the youth in the community in a positive way.
So, for those of you that's out there watching, we have our Causing a Stir segment coming up in approximately 5 minutes. This is an opportunity for you to ask us questions in regards to cocktails and music and how alcohol impacts the community, impacts the music industry. We have a prize for anyone that can name the most songs and artist that refers or infer or directly mention liquor. So if it's saying sipping, that qualifies. If it says drinking, that qualifies. If it says bartender, that qualifies. So you can go ahead and start chiming in now.
You're
We're
looking for one
watching-
artist.
Well, not one artist. They can name multiple. The
Got it.
person that names the most songs that refers to alcohol gets a prize.
Got it.
All right.
But
You had a
for you.
question. Mhm.
Because as we're having this conversation, you're more so concerned about how people are promoting liquor, alcohol, right? So the effect that it has on artists that are keep on repetitively saying, I look at everything. If somebody's saying something in a song, they probably getting a check. And then we're worried about the community, but then we weren't worried about like Beyonce when she mentioned them biscuits from Red Lobster, then we got Black people dying from diabetes. So anything that's promoted by Beyonce or anybody else that's a mega superstar, we're still consuming that one thing and we're being, distracted. They say, stay woke, and we're not, because as soon as Beyonce do something, world stop.
Right.
And everybody went to get their Cheddar Bay biscuit. And,
Like, did you
and
see the new picture of her and Jay-Z?
right, and
I
that
didn't
picture
know
that picture is not the best picture. I was like, Jay-Z just looked like he is like cuddling, like I'm done. You wore me out. He don't look masculine in that picture at all. But the point I'm trying to make is I just feel like with anything, whether it's good or bad, if somebody promotes it, they're getting a check. So are they bad for getting that check to promote that good thing or that bad thing?
Right.
You know?
Well, to answer part of that question, the part of 100 Proof is just to put the information out there as fact-based as we can so that consumers can be more conscious to know that when an artist talk about this drink like that we just go out and get it because this artist mentioned
I
it,
think we're
or do
more
we have a little
naive.
bit more strength and be a little bit more conscious, smarter, and educated, and think twice to say, am I buying it because I like it, or am I buying it because Beyonce said it?
Well, I mean, it's a difference. If I buy it because Beyonce said it or Jay-Z said it or whoever said it, it's my duty and it's my responsibility as an individual not to go broke doing that. So if I'm using my last $5 or my last $500 and stop paying and not paying my rent and go and watch this stupid well, it's not stupid, whatever, the Beyonce, the stuff she's doing on every stage, but people still spending $500, $800 and their electricity is out. Now that's when the responsibility becomes theirs and not the
Yeah.
person who's pushing the brand.
Right. Go ahead, Nicholas.
I would say one thing just from my personal experience, there definitely is a community of the people that just promote it mindlessly, and it almost feels like the old Newport advertising in the inner cities to me in that sense. But there is another side too in the community, at least out in LA through my career, to where a lot of the artists and songwriters do feel like there is a distraction to keep everybody spending their money, keep them intoxicated, and keep them fornicating, and that's posted. And the liquor
Like
is
scissor and all that stuff.
yeah, the liquor is the gateway of that to change your vibration, because once you can change the vibration of somebody, now they're open to suggestion.
Vibrations. I like that. Everything is all about energy. And Monty, we're going to come back to you after break
Okay.
to get your opinion about vibrations, energies, and all that we're being said. But right now, we are getting ready for another PSA because we want you all to be responsible drinkers. We want you to know how alcohol impacts the world. 85% of Americans have at least one drink a week. So we should be able to have open dialogue and open conversation about it. So we have a pre-recorded PSA for you this time around, and so we're going to give it to you now.
When it comes to an informative, educational, enlightening, and entertaining conversation about alcohol, ranging from pairings to safely enjoying alcohol to safe travels getting home, there's only one show you want to listen to. Make sure to tune in to 100 Proof, compliments of cocktail conversations, as well as Rolling Out Magazine. Make sure to catch it on the Rolling Out Magazine Facebook Live and YouTube platforms. Again, we want you to be informed, educated, enlightened, entertained, and most important, keep it 100 proof. The 100 Proof Show, compliments of Cocktail Chronicles, hosted by Rolling Out Magazine. Take care.
All right, and we want to once again thank my frat brother Andrew Norton for that wonderful PSA. And again, don't drink and drive, be responsible. And we are in the midst of our Causing a Stir segment. This is where we get to hear from you and acknowledge you. So again, if you have any questions, go to Facebook, to the Rolling Outs page, and ask your questions there. And remember, the person that can name the most songs along with the artist that refers to alcohol, infers to alcohol, talks about alcohol, you get a prize at the end of the night. So we see Charmaine Cuff is watching. She says, bamboo, bamboo. Max Amir, really loved the response by Zach about his thoughts on alcohol, good vibrations, hashtag. You know Max Amir?
I think I might.
All right. We got Tamika Morrison. She has a PR agency. It'll be funny how she thinks about this conversation. Diana Garcia Bonvino. All right. Chan, say what's up, Diana. He sends you some love. We got Charmaine Cuff say moderation. My pastor may have a drink. I respect it. I respect it too. So I like your pastor. My cousin Marisa Perry Pringles is watching back in the west side of Chicago, the west suburbs. What's up, Marissa? Little Wayne Gang. Okay, that's a song, I guess she's referring to. I'm thinking I'm thinking that's what she's doing. My cousin Tori Train, Roddy, what's up, cuzzo? Maximir said, should I just put an entire track listing of an alcoholicus album?
Alcoholics.
Alcoholics, okay, album. Love the conversation. Charmaine also says, YM, hashtag YM understand civic responsibility. That's why we dumped the lean in favor of bamboo. What's this
What is this
bamboo?
song? I don't know. We need to find that.
Right. Somebody look up hashtag bamboo. BUMBU. See what that might mean. One of my producers, Tamika Morrison, says, hey, Tori, what's up, cuzzo? Bold convo, you always bring it. Thank you. Hi, cousin. I see y'all. Let's blame it. So I look like that's the first one I recognize.
Right.
Blame it. Is that blame it on alcohol?
Yep.
All right, there it is.
Him and
So-
another artist were the first person on that Family Feud top 10 I was
Right.
picturing.
Gregory, and that's by Gregory Styles. So we got you. So far, Gregory, you are in the lead. But let's go back to this conversation. And Monty, I said I was going to be bringing it back to you. What's your thoughts on hearing what you're hearing so far?
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly who said it. We were just talking about. I guess one thing that kind of came to mind was like when I think about the genres of music that really promote alcohol, outside of like hip hop and pop, which is kind of now starting to replace a lot of R&B, and that's more of recent with pop. You don't really hear other genres that promote the consumption of alcohol as much as hip hop and some pop music does. Like if you listen to country, especially if you're listening to classical music, folk music, like they don't promote the consumption as heavily as hip hop music does. And you have to. I just think about like the listeners and like how they're like motivated to like take on whatever is like being said in the music. I just think that's one of the things that I always think about. Even when I was an educator, I would always tell my students like, just listen to it, but just be mindful because you got to also kind of consider like who are they marketing or who are they catering to.
And
when you look at especially like here in New York City, you look at the placement of the liquor stores. Where are the liquor stores? And as you move further uptown, how many more liquor stores do you see on the block as opposed to like being closer downtown in Times Square or lower Manhattan? So it's like, who are they really catering to and what is the agenda behind it?
All right, before you jump in, Zach, real quick, we got they're going at it on social media. So, Greg, you're now losing to Marissa Perry, who happened to be my cousin, no pun intended. So you can see right here it's done fair and square. She says Shots by Little John, which is 1 point. Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg, which gives her 2 points. Charmaine says Carlos Rossi, E40. So I don't know that song, but I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 point. One of my producers is going to look up that song to see if that's an actual song. But go ahead, Zach.
I was going to ask him a question because that kind of went over my head when it first got brought up, and I didn't even know, is partaking in alcohol in Christian music, is that like a no-no thing? Or
That's a good question, Monty. Is it? Like, I mean...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is. Like, but as far as for like my stance, a friend of mine was like kind of giving me a message. Like some people just choose to play the game, and some people are ordained to change the game. And like my whole platform is like authenticity. Like if this is like whoever you are, like be that, own that, like live in that. Like don't live in this like this place of hypocrisy. Because I will say, like definitely being in church, being in the Christian world, like it is. You don't talk about it.
But it is
not. The only generations that you really will hear like speak about it are like the millennials and like some of the younger churches where they'll actually like say, okay, yeah, we'll go to brunch and we'll have mimosas. But I will say, like in more traditional church, like absolutely not. You don't. It's just you don't talk about it, but do people do it? Oh yeah.
Got it.
Of course they do.
I guess I wouldn't have figured that even in Christianity, even if you were to separate that from the music end of it, I would have thought alcohol was greatly accepted within Christianity, opposed to like Islam, where it would be very forbidden at certain times.
I would think it would be. I think it's more of the wine. You know what I mean? They would look at wine to be that drink that would keep you just calm, opposed to mixed drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think.
even
not
generally
even
speaking,
wine,
about-
honestly. Like, I'm sorry,
But you know, like the Bible, you hear people just say, drink to not get drunk. Whatever the quote. Don't quote me on it specifically, but
Yeah.
but you're just not going to sit with a 40 and just pass out. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's more so a relaxation, so a way to relax. But just from just being in the music industry, doing open mics out of Philadelphia, like it's not frowned upon as long as you're not falling out of anything, and there's no judgment. I mean, because I always say I have no heaven, no hell to put you in. But then it's on the flip side. There's some artists that are anointed, that you hear it in their voice. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And there's
That
some
they
people
drink?
that
Yeah.
do what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
What they
and
talk a little raspy.
it's not even
Like,
about it's not even about because
Got
I
that
have
rough
I have
voice.
I have good friends that are known in
I
the
thought they
industry.
just be running too much, running with
that's
the
from,
runs.
That's from where your upbringing is. But the bottom line is, because like I said, I have no heaven or hell, so I can't really look at anybody. I can only support what I know that they're doing and where their heart is. So they have an anointed. They're anointed. That's no different than any pastor or whatever doing anything negative. They're preaching every day, and this comes out or whatever. So I feel like people are anointed to do different certain things, because we can be getting drunk and doing this and following the Diddies and the Lil Waynes and the Bumbu, whoever, right? But they raping people, or they doing something negative, or cheating on their taxes or whatever. But we're following these things because we're aligned with consuming alcohol.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why? So one is shunned upon because you're getting a message, you're getting blessed by going to church and listening to the specific artist. But when it's an R&B or a rap artist and they getting drunk and lean and doing whatever, it's okay. So is it okay? How are we not judging? Like, where's the judgment coming in?
So let's talk about judgment, and is it okay to have the media's portrayal of alcohol consumption, product placement in videos,
I think it's
and
fine.
marketing with artists? Is it causing our young listeners to drink? But y'all ponder on that, so we need to go back to the contest of you all. So once again, for those that are just tuning in, we are having a contest. Whoever can name the most songs that infer to alcohol, refer to alcohol, or blatantly directly mention alcohol. So if they say bartender, if they say tipsy, if they say sippin', if they say alcohol, if they say Hennessy, any of those are examples of making you a winner. So we're going to go back to the drawing board. We have Max, who seems to be in the lead. He says Tipsy by Jaquan, T-Pain, Buy You a Drink, Tupac, Pour Out a Little Liquor. My cousin's trying to get back in the lead.
Can we pour out a little liquor in that same category though? I guess we could.
Yeah, it's
I guess
liquor,
we could.
liquor, yeah.
Well, he's
yeah.
pouring it out in homage. He's not really drinking it.
But it mentions it. It mentions liquor. So my cousin comes back with a tie. She says a toast to the boogie, Parliament, Funkadelic. All right. And we have Gregory Styles that's come back up for 3 points. So Max has 4 points. Marissa has 4 points. Greg has 3 with Rihanna, Pour It Up. Max, my producers, you guys are really having a good time seeing your comments, so keep them coming. Max Amir says, Nas, Drunk by Myself. All right, that puts him back in the lead.
That's a dark one.
5 points. I haven't heard that one. I'm going to go listen to all of these. That woman who did that song about brushing your teeth with a bottle of Jack. Anyone heard that? That's straight up bad advice. So, is that
Somebody
a song?
said Kesha.
Kesha, okay, so you get a point for that. My producer says it's Kesha. My cousin Marissa's trying to come back in the lead. She says Drunken Love, Beyonce. So that puts her at 5 points. Max now has 6
You
points.
see the reaction of Beyonce in the room? You see what Beyonce
They loving
said?
you all's music choices out here.
I'm surprised nobody ran down T-Pain's entire catalog. yet.
Marissa, my cousin, once again say Slow Wine. Tony,
cousin
Tony,
won.
Tony.
Let's just give her the
She's
prize.
6 points and Max is 6 points. It's a tie once again. Charmaine Cuff say, well, I have just saw two sides. All right. Gregory Styles says Brass Monkey Beastie Boys. Greg, that gives you 4 points. And we have Ted Bear watching. What's up, Ted? Appreciate you tuning in. Terrence Neely, this is my little cousin, Terrence. I told you should have came down
That's
here
not fair.
with me. You'll be on this set right now, producing the music right now. So, what is today's topic, brother? Today's topic, Ted, is cocktails and music. How does alcohol impact the music industry? Greg Styles is trying to make a comeback. 5 points, he says. Red Wine, UB40. Anybody heard of a group, UB40?
They're legendary UK reggae band.
Okay, all right. You got it, Greg. Ted Bear said Barry White with the cognac. Is that a song?
I don't recognize that title, but it could be.
Yeah, so Ted Bear, we don't know if that's a song yet. I'm going to have one of my producers get on that. Barry White with the cognac. Is that a song? Marissa says, If I Take One More Drink by Ludacris. All right. Cuzzo, that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That gives you 7 points. Max has 6 points. So, Marissa, you are in the lead right now. Disha Roddy. Oh, I think that's my cousin too.
This is
Me,
just not
you,
fair. Let
and
me get
Hennessy.
my cousins on here. You might as well just meet them at the family cookout and give them all a gift.
Me, you, and Hennessy. Is that a song? D.E.J. Loaf? All right.
Deja Loaf.
Disha. I know. Okay, that's Tori's daughter. All right. She got 1 point. My homie Gene is watching. What's up, Gene? All the way from New Jersey.
See, they're
And
talking
we
about
have
them spirits.
Charmaine Cuff. This is fun, though. Thanks, Charmaine. Thanks for thinking this is fun. I thought of this off the cuff. Ted Bear say Keith Sweat, gin and juice on the mellow beat. Did Keith Sweat come up with gin and juice? Some producers, y'all need to get back on me on that to see if he gets a point. Gin and Juice by Keith Sweat. Is that accurate? And my frat brother Ken Whitehurst is watching. What's up, Ken? Thank you for watching. But let's get back to the conversation at hand.
Who won? Your cousin?
Well, the contest is still going on. So you all have 6 minutes to get more topics in. For those that are just tuning in, we're having a contest.
Somebody put
Of
99
who-
bottles of beer on the wall. That's fine. They
Of
should
who-
just win. They should
Of
win.
who can name
They won.
the most songs that mentions or refer or infers alcohol. And Marissa, everyone
won.
is laughing at you right now here in the studio because you put 99 bottles of beer
Is she here?
on the wall.
Is she local?
She's in Chicago in the
Oh,
in the
man.
west suburbs, Maywood, Bellwood, one of those. So Marissa, you have 8 points, and Max, you have 6 points, and Greg, you have 5 points. But the conversation right now we're having is, do you think that media's portrayal of alcohol consumption with product placement in videos and marketing to artists, as you mentioned, Zach, is causing more young people to drink at an early age?
1,000,000%. And I'm a big law of attraction kind of guy, so whatever you create and show the world to enter another mind, you create more of.
It's that energies and vibrations you
So
mentioned earlier.
it's used to tactfully spread. The more you see it, you won't be able to deny it. And then what's really interesting to me now is the age of the artists now in these past 2 generations, to where I don't really think we've ever seen artists this young before. So you used to have
She used to have old artists that
these
that
mid-20-year-olds.
said they were younger than what they were.
right, and they're spearheading a movement, but they're consciously aware of their actions and what they're doing, whether they're positive or negative, or selling out for the money or whatever it may be. But now with these artists that are literally from 14 years old to 17-year-olds getting these major label $1 million deals, they're following the same footsteps, but not consciously aware of what they're doing. So it's very interesting. It's almost like the blind leading the blind at this point, where the youth who haven't even entered their 20s
Right.
are being put on the pedestals to
Influenced.
be the leaders.
And they're singing these lyrics that talks about drinking.
Right.
So what's your thoughts on that? I mean,
My
is it the
thought-
parents' fault letting their kids
You know-
listen to this music?
You know, I was going to say that, but sometimes it's really the individual person, because, you know, a weak-minded person will just follow the trend. You know what I mean? And that is what's happening nowadays because of, social media. You know, how many people you know just do videos and post dumb stuff because they see other people doing it and it makes them laugh. You know, so people are just following it. I think social media is a big influence on how we react. It's a lot. My mom is on Facebook and she reposts so much stuff, and I would never have thought she would have, but it's because it's in her face and she see her peers doing it. So I think two things.
You must got a young mother.
I think I'm no. My mom is 64, and I want her to just get off of Facebook. I remember when she got it. Now she has Instagram, and sometimes I see her like some of my stuff, but she has no picture. So she's one of them people that trolls, and you just don't trust them. But I just feel like social media, one, is a big influence on how we react. You know, just even with being in the studio, we thinking about what your production is thinking about what the next person is doing and trying and making sure that you're better. You know what I mean? So you're seeing these things, and the capability of having all these cameras and having these microphones and Wi-Fi and all these things it's enhancing your production, right? But then even with being influenced, I just feel like it's each individual person, and it's up to them to make that decision. I mean, product placement, you don't want to cut nobody's money because you product place when you do different things, so that's a check. So
Had we had a liquor sponsor tonight, you will see all type of bottles up here on the table.
So it's just kind of like which it's a need. It's what you need. You need the sponsorship dollars to keep your event going, and it's not up to you to really hold nobody's hand to tell them don't touch this.
So Monty, going to you in New York City, Mr. Christian recording artist, do the parents have a role in gauging what their children listen to so that they do not become influenced to have a drink, as Zach just mentioned that they would by listening to these lyrics? What role do the parents play?
Yeah, the parents definitely play a significant role, but in the world that we live in today, again, because I was an educator and I know how it works, like you can't control, in today's society, you cannot control or filter what your children are exposed to. It's impossible.
True.
If you send your child out into the world, you send your child to school, your child watches TV, because even on like kid shows, they're a little bit more like explicit these days. Like I watch some of the cartoons and the shows now, and they talk about things that we didn't talk about in our generation growing up. But it's impossible to filter what your child hears unless you homeschool them and you don't ever let them walk outside. But what parents must understand is that they have to establish a relationship with their child and talk about those things that people really shy away from. Talk about, sex, talk about alcohol, talk about drugs, and be open enough to have that open dialogue with your child to where they are comfortable enough to talk to you about the things that they are introduced to. Because like kids are introduced to so much. And like, again, working in the school system, I dealt with students where they were one way in front of their parents and a totally different child when their parent was not around.
Right.
But that also comes from just like building that relationship. But no, you can't, as a parent, it's impossible. You cannot filter what your child is going to do.
Absolutely.
That's unheard of. That's not gonna happen.
Well, we're getting ready. We have another PSA announcement coming up. But before we go to that break, we want to encourage you to still participate. You still have a chance to win. And we're going to do just a very quick tab. My cousin Marissa says she's from Minneapolis, former West Sider. I didn't know you moved, Cuzzo. Someone says, absolutely, media causes you to drink. Marissa says, crack a bottle from Eminem. So that gives her 9 points. And Ken Whitehurst says, laughing out loud, I'm older than his mom, and I have Facebook, Twitter, IG, Snapchat. He truly does. But it's time for our PSA. We're going to come back and keep score, so keep the votes coming in.
Good evening once again. Make sure to catch the 100 Proof radio show hosted by Jay Wesley of Cocktail Chronicles in partnership with Rolling Out Magazine. Don't forget to tune in each and every Tuesday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rolling Out's Facebook Live as we have engaging, enlightening, educational, and informative discussions on enjoying alcohol responsibly. And don't forget to use a ride share or responsible transportation services to get home safely. And that's keeping it 100. 100 Proof once again with Jay Wesley of Cocktail Chronicles in partnership with Rolling Out Magazine.
All right. Thank you, Brother Andrew Snorton, for that PSA. As always, drink responsibly. And we want you to know how to navigate through different social settings with alcohol. Next week's topic is going to be cocktails and human resources. Do you know what are the levels of drinking with your boss, your peers, and your subordinates? You got to tune in next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Rolling Out Facebook page. But back to the conversation, and we're going to go back to causing a stir quickly. Charmaine Cuff says, but back in the day, they were all teenagers. Artists start young. Aaliyah, Tony, TL,
Yeah, that's true.
all the rappers, early 20s and the 90s. Charmaine Cuff says bamboo. So we did figure out what the bamboo means. That is an original craft rum. My producers are on the money. They went and researched that. So Charmaine, you must work for bamboo. Send us some of that bamboo so we can have on the table and taste it. But back to the race, we have Marissa says pass the Courvoisier, Busta Rhymes. That puts her at 10 points. Max must have just gave up. Ted Bear said, I truly believe that there's no other solution. Lots of videos to watch that surround yourself with alcohol. He has a whole paragraph here.
You gotta turn your phone up.
Right.
See
So,
everything.
Ted, I can't necessarily get to everything that you're saying.
Jay, remember back in the day, BET had the after hours like 12:01. It was booty popping on the hands. Remember that?
Right.
It's like it used to be kind of like go to sleep and then the adults can watch TV. So now it's just 24/7.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, BET is sometimes I'm a little disappointed.
I had
But
a practical thing too I wanted to mention in terms of like alcohol in the studio. And it got brought up when we were talking about judgment. I very strongly point and judge in this specific situation that I'm about to say. And it's one of my biggest pet peeves as an engineer
tell us, keep it 100. You're on
Is-
100 proof.
that when you drink alcohol, it's dehydrating your body and your vocal cords. So what happens from a science perspective, it actually diminishes your high frequency content. So your voice isn't as bright.
So Whitney Houston may be an example of that, where she wasn't able to hit that high note later on.
Oh, for sure. It will constrict your vocal cords to where you don't have the accuracy or the range that you would. And you're getting tired because you're still having a good time partying. I've been in many sessions to where the alcohol was the sole reason why we had to cut the session short.
Right.
And not even because they were drunk. It's because they couldn't perform the way they needed to because they
Right.
were too busy having fun in the control room. So it's a very interesting give and take between the creative juices getting amplified and actually be able to deliver the performance that's needed.
Absolutely. So we were just in the midst of our On Fire segment. That's normally where we tell you what's popping, what's crack-a-lacking, but we kept the conversation going for you all because we wanted to give you all these scores. And Ted Bear said, it's all good, brother. I'm sipping on my cognac right now, looking at the beach. All right, you got to invite me over. Where you at, man? Have some cognac. And Charmaine says, okay. So Spot segment. This is where we tell you what's going on around the city or around the world for that matter and where you need to be. So, Ike, where do people need to be?
Around the world, they need to be in 3 cities this month. Nashville tomorrow on the 14th of June, which is Black Music Month. The 16th of June, I'm right back here in Atlanta at Sweet Lounge. It's a brunch. It's a power brunch. We're honoring Tony Terry and Ricky Dillard. On the 14th, we're honoring natives of Nashville, Louis York. They're actually building an African American museum there in Nashville, so I'm honoring the president and Shannon Sanders. And then Philadelphia is June 20th, and we're honoring Eric Roberson, who's an artist out of Jersey, Bishop Ford, that's in Philadelphia, and we're honoring the founder of that. So that's where everybody needs to be, and they can all go on my website, iamthroughmedia.com, and search around and purchase tickets and learn more about Black Music Month and all that I do.
All right, excellent. And where can people find you at? Zach?
I'd say the easiest place is my Instagram at Zach Nichols Mix, or my website is zachnicholsmix.com. It's ZACHNICHOLLSMIX, 2 L's.
And so, any events you want to tell? You got anything going on that you're gonna be at? Where you're gonna be partying?
Man,
People can
I
come out
actually
and see
flew
you?
out to Atlanta today from LA just to get away from the West Coast for a little bit, rejuvenate, come to a brand new place. It's crazy. Nobody can believe that I've actually never been to Miami or Atlanta, being
All right.
over 10 years deep in this business. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for the answers. So if you guys got places to go, let me know, because I'm just trying to soak it
You
up
here
out
on the
here.
16th?
Uh,
You here Saturday?
yeah, I leave on the early morning of the 22nd.
All
Okay,
right.
cool. Well, I'm gonna invite you out so you can come and just.
All right, dope.
Do
Soak
I,
up
do I
some
get
of-
to come? Do I
You
get an
get to,
invite?
yeah, you
know,
definitely get to.
All right. Excellent. We're going to come and do a 2-minute sip at Sweet Lounge.
All right.
That's where we tell people about the drinks there. But Monty, tell people real quickly where they can find you.
So this Friday, I'm actually hosting a launch party for my first single that will be out June 15th at Cove Lounge, which is 325 Lenox Avenue in Harlem, Manhattan, New York. So that's where I'll be from 7 to 10. And of course, you can always find me on social media. My website is currently being constructed, so it doesn't exist right now. But you can find me on social media at I am Monty Henderson. That's I am MONTE Henderson, and also my Facebook, just Monty Henderson. And that's how you can kind of keep up to date with like where I'm at, what I'm doing, music that's coming out, what I'm working on, things of that nature, until the website is actually launched.
All right. And we have Ted Bear saying, I'm definitely going to put that on my agenda. I'm from Thomasville, Georgia, so I need to come to Atlanta to see what's going down. I've been living in West Palm Beach for 35 years, laughing out loud. Charmaine Cuff say, please post the details. You can go to cocktailcron.com. Cron is short for Chronicles, and we will post it there. Make sure you give me the details. Or you can go to follow us on social media at cocktailcron, the number 1, and we will have the details for Ike's party posted on our site. Charmaine said, y'all welcome to come to Kentucky.
She
So,
must got them good flights. I'm all right with a buddy pass. What's that?
so yeah, we're going to have to come check you out. Isaac says, send us some buddy passes. So we are in the midst of our international sip segment, and as you already know, we've been sipping. Monty, have you been sipping with us tonight?
I haven't necessarily been sipping with you, but I did have a couple margaritas before we talked. It's happy hour time out here, so I had 2 margaritas at Canteen at the rooftop here in Manhattan.
Okay, so yeah, that works. That works. New York City is definitely a big place for happy hour. So we want to thank all of you always for tuning in, and we're going to announce the winner. And it looks like our winner is Marissa, my cousin. So what you're winning is, Isaac didn't know he was doing this, but I didn't think it might be an issue.
It's probably
You're winning
not.
some tickets to Isaac's
Is she
event. She's in Minneapolis, but she can transfer the tickets to somebody she might know.
She know
So
anybody, yeah.
so you're going to get 2 tickets to the event on this Saturday at Sweet Lounge,
Yep.
starting at what time?
11. It's run from 11 to 3.
From 11 to 3. So, Cuzzo, if you know someone here in Atlanta, Georgia, outside of me, just let me know. We'll transfer the tickets to them. What's your last thoughts on this conversation that you want to leave people with?
Wow. I'm gonna have to marinate on that for a second.
All right, we'll come back to you. Monty, what are your thoughts on this conversation that you want people to part with?
Well, I guess I would say definitely just like I think I heard someone mention about kind of listening to music and kind of having like that weak mindset. Like, listen to the music, have a good time, enjoy it, but just like don't lose yourself in it. Like, be true to who you are, and always definitely take care of your body. This is your temple, so be mindful and everything in moderation. That's all I have to say.
All right, and Isaac.
So yeah, so like my mantra, my company is the brand is you. So just always remember that. Remember what you want people to remember you of, as you leave, as you approach them. So I just think all in moderations of what you're doing, and just don't be so heavily influenced by what you see. Do your research, and then make that decision after that.
All right, you got something, Zach?
Yeah, now, I would say for anybody deliberating on, especially if it's a young kid, like, should I try this new drink? Should I not? I'm only 16. Do I want to get drunk? If you find yourself in a place of you're questioning, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it anyway. But if you're one of the ones that's questioning in it, I would say just pay attention for a little bit. Just hold off and just pay attention for a little bit before you really make the decision.
Pay attention, and also what Zach said is be in touch with yourself to know your energies, to know your vibrations, and be a conscious consumer. Don't go and buy something just because another artist mentioned it. So buy stuff because you like it, because it's good for you. It puts nutrition into your body. And always tune in every Tuesday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Next week, we're talking about cocktails and human resources. What should you do if you see your boss get tipsy? What should you do if you get drunk at a holiday party? And be sure to follow us on @CocktailCron, the number 1. And as always, keep it 100 with us on 100 Proof, because we are your leading source of beverage industry news. And we want to thank our music sound engineer, Chance Uno, for giving us these great beats. I know I messed up the company's name, but Chance is the sound engineer. C Uno is the music organization. But anyway, enjoy the beat. Go off.